Hello Terrarians, my name is TStrat. Welcome back to another episode of Terraria. This is Terraria 1.4.4, the Labor of Love update. We're playing on that drunk seed that we've been doing so far, and today we are getting ready. We are going to fight the Wall of Flesh and finally enter into hard mode, the kind of second phase of the game. So, to that end, I've organized a few chests here to kind of go over some of the major topics for what we're going to see, what we're going to do for this thing. So in each of the chests, I have a kind of a what I would recommend as a loadout for each of the 4 subsequent classes. We have melee, range, magic, and summoner. And you can combine and mix and match these and everything, but I think this point of the game is when you want to start thinking about really going into a loadout and really making it your own. So, to that end, let's just check them off one by one. So, if you want to play a warrior or some sort of melee class character, you're going to be rocking the Molten Armor set. So, Molten Armor set is going to give yourself lots of. Let's go to this loadout here, this empty one. All right. So if you're rocking the Molten Armor set, you're going to be spouting a awesome increase in your melee damage and critical strike for melee. You notice I get 7% critical or melee critical strike chance, 7% melee damage, 7% melee speed, and then on top of that, 10% melee damage. So that's 17% total increased melee damage on all of your melee weapons. Plus you got some attack speed and some crit. Very nice. So what kind of accessories would I recommend? Well, in general, we probably want to have some of the core ones here. So I'm just going to put these kind of in my main menu because we're going to be talking about these. For specifically the Wall of Flesh fight. The fight is done on a very flat surface. There's not a lot of obstacles to kind of jump and maneuver around. We're also going to be running kind of in a line. So as the boss comes in from one side, we're just going to be running to the opposite side and just kind of attacking as we go like this. So to that end, we want some mobility, we want some movement speed. I recommend putting on the TerraSpark boots. We always want to have some sort of life regen, just because when we take damage, we do want to recover our health. If you would like, the Shield of Cthulhu is actually not bad for just generating speed. So if you end up getting stopped at some point, and you just want to get going, a quick dash can help you get started. Otherwise, you have to kind of build up your momentum, which isn't too bad. So that's an optional accessory. I'll put it under optional like this. Additionally, other optional accessories are things like the Brain of Confusion and the Worm Scarf, which are damage mitigations. So this one has a chance to just completely dodge an attack. That can really be a lifesaver when you're talking about potions and healing and things like that. And the other one, the Worm Scarf, just takes 17% of all damage and just negates 17%, which is pretty good. Additionally, for melee, I highly recommend the Feral Claws. Probably change all these to menacing or warding for defense. The Feral Claws will allow weapons that are normally a single use. Like if I hold left click, it only uses it one time. It will actually enable auto swing on all of these. It's very good. It also increases your melee attack speed. Now, just double checking. I think I heard something about a control for like auto swing, but I don't think it's actually in here. Just quickly double checking. Yeah, I don't think so. I heard something online about that, and I thought that was a little weird because you have an item that grants you auto swing. So I think that's really what that's for. But it also just increases your attack speed, and more attacks per second is more melee damage per second. So that's always a good option. Right. Additionally, along with the Worm Scarf and the Brain, one of these items, you could put on an obsidian shield or a cobalt shield. This grants you immunity to knockback. We're going to be in melee. We're going to be close to the boss. So not being knocked back when you get hit means that if something gets behind me, it won't knock me into the boss. That would be the worst thing that could happen, is I get sort of like knock up chained inside of the boss. The Shield of Cthulhu also can help with that, right? So if you get knocked up and you're being bounced around, a quick dash out is a really good option. Additionally, if you plan on using a yo-yo, the Demonic Valor is found in the dungeon chests. So this is I think the best yo-yo you can get before the Wall of Flesh fight. And in order to improve this yo-yo, we have two things we can put on. So there's the red counterweight, throws a counterweight after hitting an enemy, and there's also the white string. So let me take this off for a second. So the white string lets me push the yo-yo's range out further. So you can see without it, it reaches just the edge of this. And with it on, it actually reaches the next one. So you get a pretty good amount of distance gained. That keeps you pretty safe. You can be pretty far back, and this is still a melee weapon. The other thing is that when we hit an enemy, the counterweight starts ticking. So this counterweight is just kind of flying around. I'm not controlling it necessarily, but it'll actually act as another yo-yo. It'll do extra damage. Let's see if I can... There you go. 122. And that was the counterweight's damage, not the yo-yo damage. So it kind of acts as like a double for that. So here we go again. Let's see if I can... Hard to kind of... Because I'm not controlling this. It's just sort of around me. Let's see if I can try this again. There you go. 65. 69. There you go. So that's just an extra bit of damage that you can get out of your yo-yo if you want to go that route. As we're flying back, this thing's just going to be bouncing, and it's just going to, just keep working for you. And meanwhile, you can use the yo-yo offensively and push it up against things. Sometimes when you have your yo-yo out, it will eventually come back into you. But if you have the Feral Claws, it'll automatically throw it back out again, which is really cool. Alright, so that's kind of the gist for melee. Here's some of the weapons I recommend. Obviously, we talked about the yo-yo. I think it's a fine option. It keeps you pretty safe at distance. Very, very good for that. You also saw me use the Ruthless Dark Lance. This actually got a buff in 1.4.4. You can see it's kind of got a little burst thing extending from it. It pierces. So all in all, it's a pretty good weapon. It's pretty fast attacking as well. So this is definitely a good option. Comes in shadow chests. Another great option is the Godly Sun Fury. You can see it kind of is this flail attack, and it shoots out, does a lot of damage. You saw in those crits, I was dealing like a 300 something. That also has to do with the fact that I'm doing more damage to slimes because of the banner, but regardless, it's 90 damage right now on my Godly Sun Fury, without even full menacing. I don't have full menacing on everything. And it goes through enemies. Very, very powerful. There's also the Beekeeper. I'm going to mention this for a lot of things. You'll notice the Beekeeper's range is a little bit low, and that's the one drawback to it. It's an older item. It's from the Queen Bee, but it does have the summoning bee effect. And if you're really wanting to use those bees, you totally can. We'll talk more about bees later. This is probably the weakest of the bee items, to be honest. But if you want to use that, you can. Finally, as always, this is probably the best weapon to use. I've been using it a whole bunch lately. I mean, why would you not use this? This is the best. The Knight's Edge, especially with the new version of it that has all the spinning and stuff, it's gonna keep you well protected. It can hit things behind you, so if I'm facing the wrong way, like this raven is behind me, but it still hits behind as well, so it keeps your back protected. There's no reason not to use the Knight's Edge. And even though a Knight's Edge has auto swing on it, already got auto swing, I still recommend the claws because it increases your attack speed. So by a decent amount, I think like 12%. So still a good option to use that. Although you could definitely slot in some more accessories here to help you out. All right, so that's melee. That's the idea with that one. Let's check out another class here. You put all this stuff back. This one and here. Okay. The Knight's Edge. I'm gonna hang on to the Knight's Edge so I can just deal with things as they come at me. All right, the next class we're gonna look at is the range class. So range has kind of two paths that it likes to take, and at this point, it really doesn't matter which one you use. You can use both. Later on, it will actually start being more specialized into guns and bows. So there's kind of these two options here. So the Necro armor set is going to be the range set for this. You get the Necro armor set also from the dungeon, from bones and cobwebs. I think you can build it at a anvil, and you can see here gives us range attack damage, all three pieces, so 15%, and then the set bonus is 10% critical strike chance with range attacks. So what are some of the options? Well, let's look at the guns first. For the guns, there's a couple different ones. There's not too many, but a tried and true, very well tested gun to use is the Mini Shark. So the Mini Shark, I haven't really been using this in this playthrough because I used it in almost every other playthrough I've done. It's that strong, it's that iconic. Odds are, if you've played Terraria before, you've heard of this gun. So hopefully this is a review for a lot of people. And it shoots out musket balls. So let's check out how the Mini Shark looks. You can see it's a machine gun. It just very fast firing, just chews through enemies. Very excellent weapon. However, it is low damage per shot. To that end, we need to think about ways to mitigate that. The number one way is with a shark tooth necklace. This will increase your damage. You can see now I'm dealing like 30s instead of that 25 that I was doing before. By shooting through or by penetrating the enemy's defense with this armor penetration, we can actually do more damage with the Mini Shark. So that's number one. I highly recommend doing that, especially on higher difficulties, expert and master mode. You are not going to regret putting on a shark tooth necklace. I do believe also, I don't have a second one right now. I converted this one to a stinger necklace using honeycomb and the shark tooth. If you find another shark tooth necklace, I do think they stack. Don't quote me on that, but I think you can actually have both of them for even more penetration there, if you have the accessory slots for it. All right. So that is the Mini Shark. Another option is to use one of the shotgun alternatives. So this is a quad barrel shotgun. It's a little harder to get this. It's not that bad. It's the gunsmith. If you have the gunsmith near a graveyard biome, after defeating, I believe, Skeletron, he will sell this. And it's a very inaccurate, is what they say. It's an inaccurate spread that does a decent amount of damage. It's like 16 on this unupgraded. So you could probably bump that up to like 20 per shot. The nice thing is that the wall of flesh is a very big target. It's literally like the size of the screen. So odds are multiple of these pellets are going to hit the mark that we're looking at. So it's also very good for just clearing out lots of enemies, because as they fly out, they will hit multiple targets. So it actually is pretty useful for this fight as well, for that reason. If you can get really close, like where this chest is and shoot, all the pellets will hit. That will deal an insane amount of damage. So definitely something to consider. Also, with regards to the ammo for these guns, there's a few options we can choose. So musket ball is the default. You just buy them straight from the gunsmith. No big deal there. However, silver bullets, what I'm shooting now, is another option we can do. So musket ball and silver or tungsten, depending on your world, will allow you to make silver bullets, which are a little bit stronger. They deal 10 damage on the bullet instead of the 8, so they make your gun a little bit stronger. Very good option. Just, you know, anytime you can buff your damage up even a little bit, it really helps. You can see I'm almost hitting 60 with that. Furthermore, if you want to do this even more, we can actually lose 1 damage and make meteor shot. Now, why would we want to lose damage to do this? Well, first of all, meteor shot, not too bad to obtain it. You just farm the meteorite, build a bar, and you kind of saw the what's going to happen here. Meteor shots actually ricochet. So this is actually quite good in a closed environment. If I shoot like the ceiling, for example, let's go over here. If like we're caught in a little tunnel, my bullets are going to kind of bounce around. So even if I miss on some of these shots with this scatter gun, it can still have a chance of like hitting just because of how much it's bouncing around. So very good option. I highly recommend that. Even for Mini Shark, it can be all right. Although since the Mini Shark's more accurate, I probably would use the silver bullets for that one. Okay. Yeah, and oh, I forgot to mention the other thing about Meteor is that it pierces. I just saw that. Let's see. Give me one more enemy. Come on. Anybody. I want to show it piercing. Anybody? There's never enemies around when you need them, you know? They're always here annoying me when I'm talking, but then as soon as I actually want one, they're not here. Okay. So if I shoot, it actually goes through. Do you see that? So it can be very useful for that as well. Thank you, zombie. That's all I needed from you. Oh, of course, right after I don't need him anymore. Alright, so let's put the stinger necklace back. The next stuff that I want to check out. So that was the Mini Shark and the quad barrel shotgun. There's also a boomstick that you can find in the jungle. I haven't found one yet. That's why I didn't show it here. But if you want to use that, that's also an alternative to the quad barrel shotgun. They're similar damage. All right. The other route you can take is with bows. I still recommend the stinger necklace actually for these. And there's a few different arrow types that we can talk about. So bows are kind of interesting because as you get to this phase of the game, the 3 bows that you're going to have access to are going to be the Bee's Knees, which we got from the Queen Bee, the Molten Fury, which is made out of the Hellstone bars, and the Hellwing Bow, which was found in the Shadow Chests. So Bee's Knees, all of these bows actually take normal arrows and they convert them into something else. So Bee's Knees converts them into bees. Molten Fury turns them into fire arrows, and Hellwing Bow turns them into these kind of like Hellbat things. So why would you use one or the other? Well, Bee's Knees, we've already seen its super effectiveness, especially with something like the Hive Pack, which increases the strength of bees. I recommend this for any build that's going to use bees. It's just going to make the bees a lot stronger. So you can see like 56 damage there on the crit. It's very strong stuff. And that was like a not direct hit. We're going to keep going through this army. I don't even care. We got weapons. It's going to be good. It's a showcase anyway. So I highly recommend doing that. One thing I've found out in my own testing as well is that the stinger necklace actually applies to your bees. So you will actually do damage with the stingers. With the stinger necklace on, you will do more damage. So still keep that on no matter what you're doing there. And we can see it tearing up a few things. All right, Molten Fury, again, is a similar thing. It does a lot of damage and also has a chance to ignite targets on hit. You know, dealing burn damage is always a good option. There you go. Super solid. The Hellwing bow is the one that's a little bit different. This one actually has auto fire, which is kind of cool. However, it's not accurate. You can see they're kind of in a spread pattern. So for single targets and stuff, not necessarily the best. But if you're killing, like, you know, waves of enemies, or, you know, the target's a little bigger and you don't mind missing a little bit, not a bad option there. Okay, so that's with the basic arrows. That's what they do. So if you just want basic arrows, it will do enough job. It will do its job. You know, I'm hitting for some pretty big numbers here, especially if you consider, like, you know, some of the other weapons that I was using. These are pretty good. All right. So what else we got? We also can use Jester arrows. You guys have seen Jester arrows before. They fire exactly straight, so you don't need to worry about drop off or anything like that. If you're gonna use Jester arrows, I recommend you probably just pick the bow that does the most base damage, because the bow is not going to actually change it into whatever type. So the bee's knees won't change a Jester arrow to suddenly shoot bees, right? It'll always be the normal Jester arrows. These are done by using stars and normal arrows. So combining the two of them together can get Jester arrows. You can also just find Jester arrows in, like, pots in the underworld. So not a bad option either. A little bit harder to get, that's why I only have a few. But just something to consider. That's another one that we can use. And look at that, the goblin army's already gone. That was barely even a challenge. Okay. Another arrow we just saw was Shimmer. I just made a bunch of these by dropping normal arrows into the Shimmer field, which was, in our world, was to the side of the jungle here. This big pool of Shimmer. And let's actually see what they do. So you can see the Shimmer arrows start arcing up. That's their big thing. They have a different kind of arc pattern than previous bows. So you can see there it goes. And Hellwing actually will not change it into the different type. It'll shoot that specific bow. So this kind of has an interesting little hook angle to it. It does a decent amount of damage as well, 14. So if that's something you want to use, you could try it out. I have a bunch here. I've been meaning to just kind of test it around, but I haven't got around to it yet. But you can do some interesting things. Like maybe I could like slide it around. Yeah, to hit that slime. Something like that. Yeah, it's there if you want it. It's kind of a novelty. The other one I have is Hellfire arrows. I found these in pots in the into the underworld, and they have an explosion on impact. So actually does a little bit of AoE, which is kind of cool. Again, with these different arrow types that are not being converted, so if it's not just wooden arrows, I recommend using your highest damaging bow, which is probably the Molten Fury, or using the Hellwing bow for that auto fire. And auto fire with the exploding Hellfire arrows is pretty deadly. All right, so that's range in a nutshell. We got all the different pieces there. Let's pop this back on. So lots of options for range to use. Very solid. Get out of here, slime. All right, let's we don't need any of these. We'll put these back. Just kind of have them in there. There's your options. Again, recommend the stinger. Recommend the hive pack if you're going to use these. Next up, we got the mage. What kind of options do we got for the mage? Well, I mentioned we have a lot of options for range. Mage has even more, with the first being, what armor set do you use? Technically there are 3, although 2 of them are the same kind of set. The Ancient Cobalt and the Jungle set are exactly the same. Don't worry about which one you use or which one you get. They work the same way. And I've shown this off already a lot, but you got critical strike chance, damage, and another critical strike chance. The big kicker here is that your maximum mana is increased, and your mana usage also lowers. So it allows you to fire more often. You know, you have more total mana, and also each shot is going to require less mana to use. Very solid for that. But for boss encounters, usually you're more prepared than that. This is a really good set for just sort of wandering around and just having fun and playing, and not worrying about your mana and losing it and all this stuff. But realistically, for a boss fight, we're going to probably be using something like the Menacing Mana Flower, which will automatically use mana potions when we're out. And we're going to stock up on tons of mana potions. I have like 600 here or something like that. So this is probably what we're going to have. We're going to have a Menacing Mana Flower. And with that, that really opens up our options in what we put on. Now, the Meteor set actually increases our magic damage directly. So this one does magic critical strike by 6% and only 6%, it'd be 12% critical strike chance. So 12% crit chance, still pretty good. It's only increasing our maximum damage by about 6. So let's just look at an example. Here's my Hurtful Magic Missile. It does 44 magic damage with the set on. Let's swap this to the Meteor set. Now I'm doing 52. I've gained about 10 points of damage just in this weapon itself. That's super solid, just raising the base up by about 10 points. That's huge. But we do lose a little bit of crit chance, so whatever. It is kind of up to you. The set bonus is that the Space Gun costs 0 mana, so if you want to use the Space Gun, this is an option. I don't think it's really strong enough for Wall of Flesh, but it's up to you. I just think that there are better options on the table. What are those options? Well, as always, B-Gun still shreds, still does a lot. For this one, I think if I put on Stinger, this will actually also do more damage as well. Did I put the gun back? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't actually know. I have to look at it more for this weapon to see if it works. I know it works on the bow. I actually tested it on the bow. So B-Gun, you know, it seems like it's pretty low damage on paper. It says 12, but it's actually, you know, it's actually not bad. And you can upgrade this to a better version of it as well. You know, you can put on the armor pack and make them very strong, and the damage of the gun itself isn't really the damage the bees are doing. All right, what are some of the other options? Well, for your bread and butter of just like direct target, I don't think anything's really better than Aqua Scepter. You just have a constant damage on the enemy when you're using it. Very solid for that reason. There's also the Magic Missile, which lets you very accurately target whatever you want to hit, and you can release it to have it fire out. So you can actually go pretty quick with this, but you can also hold it and do it. And it's pretty devastating damage, so you can see I can kind of like loop it in there. For a fight like Wall of Flesh, it might be a little slow at getting the damage out, so maybe not the best option there. The Flame Lash is essentially the same thing, but does fire damage. This one's definitely up to you which one you use between Magic Missile and Flame Lash. They're identical. One's a little bit less damage, but it's a ball of fire, so I think it can do fire damage, which is nice. Speaking of fire damage, you probably see me use the Mythical Flower of Fire. Very strong. It just kind of bounces forever. So it finds where it's going and will drop it. It does have gravity, so where I'm going to be, it's probably not the best option because I'm going to be on lava, and I think it'll actually hit the lava and just stop. But if you're on like a platform or something, you can really, you know, you can actually alter how it bounces, so you can kind of have different speeds and stuff like that. It can be very effective. And it does a lot of damage. Very good. Additionally, we have the tried and true water bolt. It's a little bit low damage compared to the other weapons that we've shown so far, but being able to pierce and bounce through things is pretty great. And also because it's a little slow, it actually will more often than not double hit larger enemies, which is very good. So water bolt, excellent option. Finally, just as a little mention, the Master of Skulls has a homing effect, locks on, does a lot of damage. This is dropped from Skeletron. Very, very good book as well. Although it takes up a lot of mana, so make sure you have your mana potions. The other one that I didn't have time to grab it, was the Demon Scythe, which is dropped from demons in the Underworld. That's also a good alternative. It's kind of similar to Book of Skulls and how it works. It's a little bit faster at actually getting out your damage, though. So that is a good option for that. So I recommend for the Wall of Flesh fight specifically, I would probably bring the Aqua Scepter, the Water Bolt, maybe the Flower if I was on a normal platform and not just on lava. And then maybe the Demon Scythe or the Book of Skulls as an alternative or a backup tool. And the invasion really messed up my inventory. I have so many things in here now. Okay. So that is Mage in a nutshell. We got one more to go through, and then we'll jump to our fight. Why did I put them in the box? I want them to go in the... Okay. The mana flower back in here. So the big thing with this is bringing that mana flower. Super important. You don't need to bring the regeneration ring, the ring of star power, I think it is, or the band of star power, whatever it's called. You don't need to bring that because the mana flower is covering our mana needs. If you're really, really smart about it, you can actually opt to not bring this and bring something else that just gives you more damage or more utility, because you can actually use mana with the J key by default. I just don't like doing that while I'm thinking about the rest of the fight, because I already have to think about when I heal. I don't want to also think about my mana usage, so that's just my recommendation on that one. But that's up to you. It's up to you how you want to do that. Okay, finally, we got Summoner. What are some options for Summoner? Well, we have the B set. The B armor set is extremely good. It's very straightforward. It just increases the number of summons you have and increases their damage by a lot. So this is 4, 4, 5. So there's 18 damage there, plus the set bonus. We're looking at a 28% damage increase. So I actually want to show this because it's kind of a lot for these summons. So the summons that I recommend are going to be either the Imp, right? Very solid. He just shoots targets. Or I've actually been having a lot of success with these the Vampire Frogs, which are a drop from fishing during a blood moon. There's some unique enemies you can fish up, and they can drop this staff. For this fight, I think the easiest thing is to go with the Imp Staff. You just create it with meteorite bars. Very straightforward. Very solid option. So let's see. Right now it's a nasty Imp Staff, which means it has 18 summon damage on it already. Let's put on the armor. And now we can see it goes up from 18 to 22 damage. It goes up by quite a bit there. Additionally, the armor allows me to summon more bees. So we can summon another one. We can get up to 3 at a time. We can actually increase that further with potions and the bewitching table. So a good thing to do is to make sure you have like a bewitching table like this from the dungeon. You can click that and you can actually get a 4th summon. Remember, each of these is doing like 20 something damage, right? Like 20, like 22 right now. So that's an extra 22 damage it's doing. Very solid. Furthermore, with summoning, we also have access to 2 items from the Old One's army. the Squire Shield and the Apprentice Scarf are two that I found. I should double check to see if there's not any more, but these were dropped from the final boss. And you can see that actually does increase our summon damage a little bit more. So what I would do is I would take them off and resummon them just to make sure they're all the updated damage. Look at them just destroying these enemies. Awesome. Finally, the last thing that you'll want to do while all these summons are doing their thing is you'll want to have a whip. Classic attack here. And this is pretty solid. It'll let you tag enemies, although these things are dying too fast for me to show you. But let me take the imps off. If I can find an enemy, I can show you the tag. Again, constantly harassing me, and then suddenly when I'm wanting to demonstrate something, they just disappear on me. Ah, here we go. You see that little ring? That just means that they're tagged. It means that that the summons will try to target that specific enemy. So you can see as soon as I tagged this one, it went for the second one. And with this particular whip, when we tag an enemy, our summons actually gain 7 flat damage to it. So super awesome there. Very good option there. I also recommend to bring on the Lucky Feral Claws with this as well. So they will let you auto swing your whip, and they actually do increase the speed of swinging this whip. Very strong. So you're basically going to have your summons out, you're going to be using whips, and just backing up as your summons will take care of the fight. Alright. One more thing to note about summons. I didn't bother to go out and get it because I do have to go and mine a little bit more. But there is another set for Summoner called the Obsidian set. And essentially it's just obsidian and I believe cobwebs or cloth or something like that. Pretty straightforward to get. It's not super crazy. But the benefit of that is that your whip speed, I think, increases. So instead of summon damage going up by another 10, it's like your whips are more powerful. Which is also an extremely good set. I can't recommend that one enough as well. So you can have that option. So bee gear from the Queen Bee or the Obsidian armor set are going to be your go-tos. Or that. And with that, those are kind of the main concerns and options for the for this Wall of Flesh fight. So the next thing that I want to kind of talk about, did I moved them all over. Okay. Let's move some of these back to my first slot here where I had them before. Just gonna move the shield. And let's take the brain. Okay. So, the last thing that I need to do to prep for the fight is I want to make sure that when I defeat the Wall of Flesh, I'm doing it at the right time. So, on the Drunk Seed specifically, we're alternating between Corruption and Crimson about which one is active in the correct day. So right now, at nighttime, if I go here, you'll notice I have Deathweed planters. This means that currently this night is a Crimson night. So if I were to fast forward to the daytime, let's do that real quick while I'm talking. As I fast forward to the daytime, she's going to change from Crimson to Corruption, which means when I kill the Wall of Flesh, what's going to happen here is that half the world is going to be populated by that evil. So it's going to make that V shape I mentioned in a previous episode. Half of it's just going to get a strip of one of those evils across it. The other half of that will be hollow, which will be a new Hallow is going to be a new biome type. So half the world will be Hallow, half of it will be the evil, whatever the evil of the world is. Oh man, so many fallen stars. I want to collect these. I'm such a collecting hoarder. All right. There you go. My minion will take care of you. Also the imp lights him on fire, which is nice debuff. So what we want to do essentially is we can dictate which one spawns in based on which day it is. So if I go here and I talk to her again, you notice it is it's a corruption day. So if we were to kill the wall of flesh right now, it would spawn corruption there. So what I want to do is I want to wait until tomorrow. I do want it to be crimson, just for personal reasons. No extra one. We still have a corruption biome in the drunk world, and that's all nice. I just prefer the underground fighting crimson enemies than fighting corruption ones. It's a preference. Doesn't really have any super impact or bearing on the game as a whole, but that's what I want to do. So I'm going to wait till then, and we're going to meet you guys at that point, and we're going to start fighting the wall of flesh. Oh, one last thing. Potions. I didn't talk about potions. I know this is going on in a while. But potions are important for the fight. What ones are important? Well, this top row has a lot of the big ones. Obviously, we want regen, iron skin for the defense. Swiftness is always good for mobility and movement speed. Endurance prevents damage, reduces damage taken by 10%. Really huge one there. Titan skin, or Titan potion, sorry, increases knockback. The Inferno potion makes a little Inferno ring around us. You'll see that. Heart reach, if hearts drop, they'll come to us a little bit better. These are all really solid ones. There's also a couple that are going to be specific to the builds. So like archery would increase bow damage and speed. That's a really good one for the bows. We have like the magic potions as well. So let's just look at, oops, I don't want to put it in that box. Let's just look at some of these that we can make here. So we also have the magic potions. So these ones will let us have magic power and mana regeneration. Super solid ones to get. Additionally, we will have, so there's the archery potion. Archery is made with lenses and Daybloom. And there's an ammo reservation. Chance not to consume ammo. This is with double cod and moonglow. So I caught some double cod in the jungle. And let's just actually make a whole mess of these. So 15 of those potions. Let's see, what else we got? So that was that one. Summoning potion. Increases your maximum summons by 1. Super great. Same thing in the jungle. There's a variegated lardfish in the underground jungle. So I caught some of those. Let's make some of those potions as well. Then we have the heart reach is made with the crimson tigerfish from the crimson biome. So if you want to have a couple of those, you can have that. Or you can find them like I did before. Endurance is created with the armored cavefish from the underground. So I already have some, but we can make some more there. Inferno is from Flarefin koi and Obsidifish, as well as a fire blossom. So this was just when I was doing the hell fishing. I got a ton of these. So I can make some Inferno potions. Beautiful. And then these last two are really important ones. So there's the Rage potion, which is on Crimson Worlds. You can catch a Hemopiranha, right? And Deathweed, and that will give you critical hit chance. So crit chance by 10%. So super solid to have this potion for sure. And then on the flip side, in the corruption biomes, you can catch Eben Koi, which will give you a Wrath potion, which is just a 10% damage buff. So again, we're talking crits versus raw damage, and how do they stack up? Luckily for me with this world, I have both. In your world, if you're not in a drunk seed, and you don't have both, you can get the seeds for a different biome by talking to the Dryad during a blood moon. I believe that gives you the opposite seeds. Don't quote me on that one. She might just sell the current biome seeds. I don't remember what it is, but I think you can get the opposite ones from the Dryad at some point in the game. All right, there we go. And I'm just gonna leave that there. So those are the main ones. There's obviously other ones like invisibility and flipper and a bunch of other ones that you don't really need for this fight, but just good ones to note. Here, I'm gonna add some shine potions. I like those now. All right, so with that, I'm gonna sort my inventory. We're gonna grab all the right potions, and I'll meet you guys in the underworld tomorrow. I'm gonna wait 1 day cycle for the Crimson to be the currently active. See you guys down there. Oh, last thing, I promise. I want to be fully comprehensive for anyone who still wants to like learn this game and know about cool things. From the Witch Doctor, I bought this imbuming station. So with some bottles of water and stingers or hellstone, you can actually make some flasks, and these will actually add different effects to your melee or whip attacks. So if you're a summoner or if you are a melee, I recommend getting these. Flask of poison, very straightforward. You just bottled water and stingers. Make some flasks there, or you can make a flask of fire with some hellstone. And so just to kind of showcase this idea, now my Knight's Edge is doing a little bit of flame damage as well. It's a little bit bonus there. I don't know if fire works well against the Wall of Flesh, considering he's in a lava environment, so I might recommend poison for him. But yeah, just another little thing to add there, a little bonus. All right, cool. All right, here we go. We're doing the Warriors run. 3, 2, 1, buffs. All right. Let's zoom out a little bit, actually. I'm really zoomed in. All right. So we got a couple options. We got the Knight's Edge is obviously going to be really great for the Hungries. Also really great for just Wall Flesh. If it's a little too close, though, we do have the Yo-Yo. All right, can I hit him? The lasers are going to be the most annoying part of this for sure. So let's stay topped up on health a little bit there. We can kill the Hungries for a little bit of health as well. Yeah, I think the Knight's Edge is not bad. Pretty solid at getting some damage in there, but this is the safest option with the Yo-Yo. You can just see. I'm gonna hold back for a bit. We got enough room in here that I just want to like make sure I can heal, not get hit by all these. Yeah. 8 seconds on a heal, hanging back. Oh. Alright, there we go. Do a couple more. And then we're gonna go right back at it with Yo-Yo. Alright, we're about halfway across our lava pool. I think the Yo-Yos are actually hitting. Yeah. There we go. There's the warrior run. All in all, not too bad. A little more dangerous than I would like because you have to be kind of close. But I think having the range of the Yo-Yo is going to be key for that fight. the white string is gonna be huge. I modified everything to menacing just to make sure I had everything possible for that fight. All right, on to the next one. Okay, next up we have the Ranger. I have a couple different options here. I got bee's knees. Good starting for the fight. We can get a bunch of bees. Oh, here we go. There's our guide. He's going in the lava, I think. Maybe? They just missed it. Okay. That's alright. We got another voodoo doll to kill the wall of flesh more. Awesome. Alright, so let's drop him in here before too many things get here. These mimics are dying all over the place too, which is nice. Buff up. Forgot to do that last time. Okay, let's just start throwing out some bees. They're gonna start taking out the hungries. We can also switch to our quad barrel and just trying to tear through them a little bit. We got that widespread gunshot. I can also zoom out a little bit in this fight. Alright, cool. You can see the barrel's actually really good with the meteor shot because one, it can hit the wall of flesh behind it, but two, like the piercing can also shred into multiple hungries. So the inaccuracy of the quad barrel is actually a benefit in this fight. I just want to keep making sure we're dodging. Not taking too much of these laser shots here. I want to be like, yeah, kind of like right here. Just enough for those eyes to move. Or just barely. Right. Cool. Alright, so that's kind of that. Let's switch to something else. Let's get the Hellfire arrows in here. And what I like to do with this one is just use the Hellwing bow and just kind of spray the explosive arrowheads. This is a pretty cool way to do it. Auto fire is kind of nice. I can honestly be off the screen almost and still be doing this. The wall of flesh speeds up as we go along, so it's kind of good to just stay way back with range. You don't need to be up in his face. All right, so there he goes. He's getting a little faster now. But you know, this is another easy way to win the fight. Ranger has a lot of good options. We also can just do the mini shark. So I can just find his eyes somewhere around here, and I can just keep targeting the same spots. And he's dead off the screen. He's not even close. Like, I'm fully zoomed out. He wasn't even on the screen when he was going his fastest. And I was able to take him out just fine. So, awesome work there. Ranger, one of the easiest ones to do. Also, looks like we got the mount. I have so much stuff in my inventory right now. We got the mount. The little, it can run on lava. Very fast mount. And yeah, I mean, we killed it way back about the same spot as the warrior did. So as far as damage and like damage over time DPS, pretty solid. I don't need the goodie bags. Fine. But honestly, not bad. Pretty solid work. Let's see how the mage does next. All right, we're back on the mage next. Mage has a bazillion and one options. So we're bringing a lot of them. I decided to not use the bee gun for this one just because we have so many other better options that it's not really worth it. And so for the extra slot, one thing that I haven't really been using, but is actually a very solid accessory, which could be used on any of the builds really, is the Magic Luminescence. This is from the Don't Starve Together crossover. Increases movement speed and acceleration. Very great. Just overall tool. Makes me a little faster on the ground. And provides light when worn, so that's kind of a nice little free shine potion if you want it. I just haven't been using it because there's a lot of other really good accessories. But I put on the Mana Flower. Again, everything else is still the same. Like, I don't need a lot of these things, like the Shield of Cthulhu and things like that. So if you find better accessories or you want to use something else, the Mana Cuffs, whatever else you might want, go for it. As far as armor goes, I kind of went for a little hybrid type thing. I went with the Cobalt Helmet or the Jungle Helmet, and the Meteor legs and suits. And that's just because I wanted a little bit of critical strike chance. Because why not? Critical strike's pretty fun. And then the Meteor legs give the most just raw damage increase of any of the sets. So there you go. All right, let's get started. Toss it in, buff up, and we're good to go. So, you know, Aquaceptor is a pretty good single target. Not as great for the Hungries, but not bad. It'll take care of it. You know, it does pretty good damage. This is another fight where we want to stay way back. I don't really care about my mana usage so much because I have that mana flower. It's just constantly gonna tick whenever I get to 0 with it. You'll just pop one of my mana potions. So we could just take out the Hungries like that. The Mythic Flower is actually one of my highest damaging weapons, but the problem is because I didn't build a runway, it doesn't actually work well because it actually just goes into the lava and doesn't bounce or anything like that. So not exactly what I would do for this one, unfortunate. But we do have the Water Bolt, and with the ceiling, this is actually not bad because we can kind of bank it off the ceiling. If we had a floor as well, this would also be able to be banked off the floor and just really do a lot for us as well. But having the ceiling there is kind of nice because you can see it just kind of bounces off, and any bolts will pierce through. So just like with the Ranger, we saw how good piercing can be. That's a good one. I also managed to acquire a Demon Scythe. This is dropped from the demons in the underworld here, and this one's also pretty excellent. It's a piercing weapon and does a pretty good amount of damage. We can just line it up there and kind of shoot at the wall of flesh. Again, like, no need to be on screen with the wall of flesh. Like, you could be off screen a little bit and just be perfectly fine taking him down. So if he's a little tricky for you and you're using a ranger or a mage, just sit off screen a little bit. It's no big deal. We also have the Book of Skulls, which is pretty nice. It's got that homing attack. So this will focus on the Hungries first. That's the only downside. So it's going to be harder to get to the actual wall of flesh with this one. But when it does, it's a pretty heavy hitting. So you can see they're kind of stopping to take care of the Hungries and not really going for time. Finally, we have things like the Magic Missile, and this is good for, like, you know, single targets and stuff like that. Might not be the best for something like the Wall of Flesh. I should focus up because we're getting to the end here. I'm just gonna shoot some Demon Scythe. Ooh, that is a lot of lasers. Is he always shooting the sky lasers? Come on. There we go. Sorry, I had to focus up a little bit for the last one. The amount of lasers he shot actually kind of surprised me a little bit. But there you go. You could just do it by hanging way off the fight. I recommend something like the Demon Scythe where I can just kind of throw it as I run backwards, and just make sure you aim them a little bit up so that they kind of arc up there. Because that eye wasn't at the same level. Ooh, another all flesh show. So that's kind of the idea behind this, and like the Aquaceptor would have been okay, but we would have had to be a little closer to the fight. So definitely would work, just a little more big. All in all, Mage has a lot of amazing options. I have so many slides. Killed a lot of demons today, so a lot of amazing options to do. Very solid and actually like kind of fun. Just a lot of. It's been fun to play Mage a little bit, just to have all these different options. I don't really recommend using these Magic Missile or the Flame Lash just because this kind of boss, you're not really going to be like trying to hit one thing, and you want to really kind of go for a better shot. I don't think I can wedge it through it, can I? Close up. All right, on to the Summoner. See you in a second. Alright, for Summoner, I also just wanted to showcase the Obsidian set, because I did mention it before. Here is Silk, Obsidian, and Shadow Scales, or you could use Tissue Samples as well. And this will make the Obsidian set. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll craft a quick set here. And we can compare it to the Jungle set. So the Jungle set as it is, or sorry, the Bee set, I mean. You get from the Queen Bee, it gives me some summon damage and max minions. So I get 2 more minions, and my summon damage increases by a substantial amount. So 8 plus 5, 13 plus 10 is 23%. Let's put on the obsidian set. See what we get. So this is summon damage by 8%, 1 minion, and then summon damage by 8%, so 16% plus 15%. So it's actually quite a bit. It's like 30% damage on the minions, but only 1 instead of 2. So I get 1 less minion, but they deal a little bit more damage. But the other benefit here is that my whip range and speed increases. So you can see like the range of my whips is a little bit further out. And if I put on some feral claws, it actually feels pretty solid to use this set. It's pretty good for just being kind of an offensive person with whips. I just wanted to showcase that, and I'll see you guys back there when we're ready to take on the Wall of Flesh again. Alright, we are back for the Summoner variant. So what I've gone ahead and done is I have acquired all the Summoner gear that I would like for the Wall of Flesh fight. So what do we have? Well, first of all, we're going to use imps for this fight. We could use the frogs, the vampire frogs from the Blood Moon event, but honestly, I think that the imps will be a little better for how I want to play it. I want to be a little safer and not right up in the Wall of Flesh's face. So, I'm going to have the imps kind of chilling with me in the back. Let's summon them up. We got, oh, I forgot to grab... Oh, actually, no, I had it. Make sure you get your bewitching table. You want to make sure you got that going on. That'll give you an extra summon. So let's see how many we have right now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like 4 summons. Plus, I'm going to have a summoning potion. So let's just pop that right now. We can show that. There'll be 5 summons. The way that I got 5 summons is I have my armor, which gives me an extra 1. I have the summoning potion, so that's 2. The bewitching table is 3 extra. And then I also was able to get the pygmy staff from the witch doctor in the jungle at nighttime. So that gives me all the summons I have. We have a little mini army with me. Very awesome. All right, so what am I bringing this time? I got Terra Spark boots, the band of regeneration. That's typical. I'm still bringing the bundle of balloons as well, just to have a little bit of jumping in case I need it. And I'm also going to bring the scarf and the shield from the Old One's army. This is going to give me a 20% increase to summon damage. That puts my imp staffs at 30 right now. Along with that, most of these things have menacing on them as well. And then I'm also bringing the feral claws just to give my whip a little bit more punch. I'm also going to bring a flask of fire just to add a little fire flare to my whip there. Hopefully that'll help with those hungries a little bit. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's drop a guide into the lava. I'm gonna buff up and let's start. So one thing that's really good about the imps is that they actually do have a little bit of pierce as well. So as soon as we take care of these hungries, we can start targeting the main eye and they can go to 10. So we do have to be a little close if we want to use the whip, which is kind of annoying to be honest. While the fight is still slow paced, I definitely want to do this. As you can see there, you can see I got my damage and then all of the imps behind it also doing it. So pretty good damage, but not very safe in doing it. So it's kind of an option. We could also just let the imps just kind of do their thing. And they will slowly start whittling down the wall of flesh there. I'm just kind of taking it easy because I want to make sure I have I want to be able to use a health potion at some point here. And it's still targeted, so they should still be shooting at the eyeball there. Oh, doing great. 26 seconds on a heal. Just want to take it easy. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. That's going to retarget to the hungry. I have to get back in here and hit that eyeball. There we go. 13 seconds on a heal there. It's the downside is I like want to do damage, but I also have to hit these hungries and retarget. All right, I'm gonna heal up. All right, let's just get in there and see if we can take him out before he kills us. 30, 40. Oh no! Oh no! That's it. All right, we got really close. I'm gonna try it one more time. See if I can get it. All right, we're doing attempt number 2 for summoner. See if we can get this. Buff up, get my extra summon there, make sure I have them all, and let's go. Alright. Alright, let's just take care of these hungries. One thing that I could do for the summoner is I could definitely stand to build a wall like about halfway up. That way it'll block that top eyeball, and then I only have to deal with this bottom one, and that would be one way to do it. Let's heal up, make sure we're topped up here. I'm just gonna stick in and just keep using the whip. Maybe that is also the play. Just damage it before I get too low. Alright, we're doing good. Just staying on this eye. And I think this is it. There we go. Actually one of the fastest ones because I was forced to just stay in combat the whole time. So summoner, actually quite strong in Wall of Flesh if you do it right. I just needed to play it a little more aggressively. And with that, those are the the 4 classes taken on the Wall of Flesh. I hope you guys like that. Obviously I still think the easiest one was just getting a star cannon and just tearing through the Wall of Flesh very quickly. Pretty straightforward. Alright, see you guys back in the normal Let's Play. Have a good one, and I will catch you later.